Amidst massive economic turmoil, political vacuum continues in Sri Lanka with an exiting president and prime minister and no clarity whatsoever on who will take charge of a country in economic mess. The island nation is staring at an uncertain future as of now. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa is all set to step down, which means that the parliament would be convened on July 15th, following which nominations for the post of president will be accepted on July the 19th, and the country will finally get a new president on July 20th. However, the political crisis on the island nation is not restricted to the fact that the current government is being toppled. Even as Rajapaksa has agreed to step down, the opposition parties are yet to form consensus over a name that would be elected as the interim president, but reports do suggest that Sajith Premadasa is the candidate. Ahead of the nomination, Sri Lanka's main opposition leader, Sajith Premadasa, has thrown his hat in the ring, and according to media reports, he intends to run for president. His party, Samagi Jan Balagaya, or the SJB, held talks with allies to garner support for the move, while other political parties are yet to come up with a name. Reports further suggest that the SJB party is likely to propose Dulas Alaha Peruma's name for the Prime Minister's post. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe has made it quite clear that he will step down once the new government takes over. Till then, he will continue to serve the post. The incumbent Prime Minister released a video message affirming his stand after angry protesters torched his house over the weekend.
They came and burnt my house. Not only that, they've taken over the president's house, the president's office and temple trees, and misplaced all the documents. A government must work in accordance with the law. Also, we must work according to the constitution. You can't pressure parliament from outside to do things. I am here to protect the constitution, to listen to people's views while protecting the constitution. What we need today is an all-party government, and I will work towards achieving it.
This as Sri Lanka witnessed violent protests over the weekend with slogans of "Gota, go home" echoing on the streets. Riding by trains, buses, construction lorries, bicycles and on foot, hundreds of thousands of people occupied parts of Colombo on Saturday, vastly outnumbering security forces deployed to protect government buildings. The agitators broke into colonial-era president's house and also torched the Prime Minister's residence, which is some 2.5 kilometers away from Rajapaksa's home. Both the leaders announced their resignations amid massive outrage and dramatic turn of events. No sitting Sri Lankan president has resigned from office so far. And now for more on-ground updates, our correspondent Dasuni Athara is joining us live from Colombo. Dasuni, thanks for joining us again. Tell us what's the latest you have for us. Over the weekend, we saw unprecedented protests, agitation on the streets, and now a worsening economic and political crisis. The opposition has given us a name, but even if power changes hands, there could be a new president by the end of this week. Will it help the current crisis?
Good morning, Priyanka. Yes, like you also rightfully pointed out, tomorrow is the day that the entire nation is waiting to sort of hear the first official confirmation of the resignation of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa. Now, according to what we know so far, a new president for Sri Lanka, the successor of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa, is set to be sworn in by the 20th of July. That's in a week after this resignation comes into effect, once it comes into effect tomorrow. But the bigger question is, who will this successor be, and how successful will they really be in getting Sri Lanka out of this crisis? Because as we speak, in and around Sri Lanka, you will see fuel queues that range for kilometers on end, unending queues with people standing in line for days on end to just obtain the bare minimum of fuel. So whoever this next successor is will really have to sort of look into how fast and how soon the country can come out of this crisis, because the solution right now, and as of right now, the only solution has been to look towards a bailout from the International Monetary Fund.
Right, but will that bailout even be possible given the crisis ongoing in the country? It can't be good for Sri Lanka's public image at a global platform, what's happening on the streets. We saw protests turn from excitement to jubilation to violent agitation. Houses were set on fire, including the Prime Minister's residence. How is the security on ground as of now? Is there fear of more protests should power change hands?
Well, so far things have turned into a great degree of calmness in and around Colombo as well as across the island. The tensions or whatever that we saw on Saturday were clearly following the mass protests that took place in and around the presidential secretariat, while many believe that it is quite suspicious that when infiltrated locations such as the presidential secretariat as well as the president's residence were not torched, but the private residence of the Prime Minister was torched. So there are some form of speculation as to what exactly transpired towards the evening hours here in Colombo that Saturday. Nevertheless, so far security seems to be having some form of control in maintaining law and order and peace and security in the country. But like I mentioned before as well, tomorrow will be D-Day for Sri Lanka because for months on end, these protesters and civilians across the country have been demanding for President Gotabaya Rajapaksa to go home. Go home, Gota has been this campaign for this entire island nation for months. And tomorrow will be the day where all these campaigners, protesters and civilians alike will wait to see whether Gota actually goes home.
Right, absolutely. Dasuni, thanks so much for all those updates. We'll, of course, continue to track the latest from Sri Lanka and come back to you for more updates. Thanks for joining us. WION World is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.